everyone. I'm sorry that I haven't been around for a while. I recorded this tutorial, or well, one version of it on Saturday, and something happened with my screen capture program because I planned on putting this tutorial out Saturday, and I normally edit my videos in Blender, and I don't know, something happened with the video file, and then so I got busy with something else. But today I am going to re-record this tutorial and hopefully it will go good. Basically what I'm going to be showing you today is it's not a tutorial on how to design a home page or something for your website. It's actually how to use the rectangular select tool and the ellipse select tool, which is located up here in the top left hand corner of your Gimp, or however you have your Gimp set up. It'll be located over here in your toolbar options. And it's just basically because I'm doing sort of kind of a line of tutorials with showing how to use these tools, but I also want to make the tutorial fun and you learn how to make something pretty cool. This one's pretty simple. There is a couple of resources that I am going to show you. Let's see, let me find it. Okay, right here there is, if you guys haven't signed up on your Google Plus, you should get a Google Plus. I don't really use Facebook too much anymore. The only time I use Facebook or Twitter or anything like that is for websites that I create. But besides that, I don't use them too much anymore. I prefer to get on Google Plus because I find that there is a lot more better resources on Google Plus, and that's just my personal preference. Not down in Facebook or Twitter in any way, but my personal preference is Google Plus. And this community is called Gimp users. You just type it in your Google Plus search, and the guy is Patrick David. He allows anybody to join. Anyways, it's a great resource, and there's some great stuff. If you don't know something about Gimp or anything, you could ask it here. There are other communities too. You could just type in Gimp and look, but there is a lot of resources here. There's people asking questions and stuff, but anyways, this is a great resource. And actually Patrick, he shared subtle patterns, which I'm going to show you next. This is a pretty cool site. If you're a website designer, I'm pretty sure that you know about this site. I have been using this site for a long time, but he shared it. Anyways, so let's go over to there. Here's another resource, and this is a awesome site. And if you can't see the patterns, it's because the site's called Subtle Patterns, and they're real subtle patterns. But it's a great resource, and it's free. All you do is come over here and just press download, and it downloads into a zip file, and you could use it for your site, which we're going to use a couple patterns from this site on this tutorial, which one of them is going to be off the first page. So it'll be, you just go to subtlepatterns.com, and you could download that if you want to follow exactly along with me on this tutorial. So let's go ahead and go back to Gimp, wherever Gimp is. There it is, and let's get into it. I'm using a pretty large file size. Let's go to new. I'm using 2000 by 2000 and press OK. But for this source, I am going to go ahead, I already have one set up because my screen capture program, for some reason it's messed up with the layer groups. But actually, well, I'll go ahead and we'll just start out new. And if I have a mess up, I'll figure it out. Okay, so we're going 2000 by 2000, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go down here and create a new layer, or you could go Control Shift N, and that's a new layer. Press OK, Actually, I should have named that. I'm going to name that pattern, and I'm going to go over here to one of my pattern files, and the pattern file, the first one is skulls. Then I'm just going to go ahead and drop that in here, and I'm going to control Shift A. Sorry about that. I'm going to go up here, and we could go to select, and we could go to all, or we could go, actually no, that's not right, I'm sorry, we'll just right click and alpha selection this, and you could go up here to edit and then select copy, or just do Control C. And if you have your patterns, which normally I don't have open because I don't use them all the time, so I'll close this tab, you want to go over here on this little corner, and you'll see like a little box with a little, I don't know, what is that, a triangle or something, and you just want to click on that, and you want to go to add tab, and you'll go over here and you'll see patterns, and just click on that, and you'll see that what you copied will be on your clipboard. I already saved this pattern into my patterns. All you got to do is, once you copy that, you could go to where's it at, edit, and then go paste as, and then go to new brush, and you just name your pattern and click OK. I'm not going to do that now because I already have one saved. Or if you don't want to save it into your patterns, you could just use it on your clipboard. And we'll go back to layers, and I'm going to hide this, and we're going to go back to our empty layer. We're going to Control Shift A first to get rid of that selection, and we're going to go ahead and grab our paint bucket tool and go down here and click on pattern fill, and you can fill it in that way. And we just put a pattern on there. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete this now. So we have the pattern on the background, and I'm going to go ahead, I want to make sure to click on that. I want to lower the opacity on this quite a bit, and if I zoom in quite a bit using my mouse wheel, or you could go Shift plus on your keyboard, or you could use this down here. There's many different ways, but you can see that the pattern is on there. If I turn it all the way up, I'm turning it down to, I'd say about, I don't know, let's go about 45%. We're making that real subtle on there, and we're going to go ahead and create another new layer, and we're going to go ahead and grab our rectangle select tool, and we're going to just go up across the top. You can make this as big as you'd like or as small as you'd like, but I'm going to go about right there, and I'm going to go over here to my color picker, and I'm going to choose this dark gray. It's 444. You could just do 3 4s and then press enter, and it'll put the whole HTML notation in there, and just press OK. And go back to your paint bucket fill tool and make sure you click back on foreground color fill. I have a shortcut set up for mine, so we're going to just I'm going to control backspace that, but you could fill it in with your paint bucket tool if you'd like. We're going to Control Shift A to deselect that, and we're going to go ahead and go over to our text tool. The font that I'm using is Dragon is Coming Italic, and I got that off of defont.com. I'm pretty sure I did. Check real quick. And just go to font. Yeah, and it's on their first homepage. So as soon as you go, it's right here. Dragon is Coming. You just click download. But anyways, let's get out of here and let's go back to Gimp. And I'm using a font size of 176. And now this could vary on your screen size. It just depends on your screen size. I've noticed that if I was trying to follow a tutorial before and they used the font size never normally usually match up unless you have the same screen size as them. So let's go, I'm just gonna, let's go back out of that, and let's go ahead and click on a light gray color, which is DB. Press OK, And let's go ahead and click back over here, and I'm just going to type out home, and for some reason that color didn't change. And then we're going to go to our move tool. You can click on it or press M on your keyboard, and I'm just going to set it right here real fast, and then we're just going to make another one in about, and then grab our move tool by pressing M on our keyboard. Oops. Actually, let's just go ahead and grab the move tool just like that, and then click back your text tool, then contact, grab your move tool again, move it up, and we're going to go ahead and grab a layer guide, and go to the bottom of this. And if you don't see your layer guides, you want to go up to view and make sure this is checked, show guides, and then you want to also make sure snap to guides is checked, and then go back over here and click on the home layer. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in quite a bit here. I'm going to pick a layer guide, and I'm going to move this layer guide down to the bottom of this. Alright, now go back to the home, move active layer, select that, and then it's going to snap, or it's supposed to, there we go, snap to the layer guide. Then we're going to move over, and you could move over by using that down there, or you could have the navigation up here, or you could press in your middle mouse button and move it. So make sure we clicked on that. Snap to the layer guide, go to contact, and snap to the layer guide. Let's go ahead and zoom back out here. Let's go back over to our tool options. And pick a layer guide. Let's move that up out of the way here. Go back to move active layer. Go back to add tab, tool options. Okay. And let's see, we got that going. Okay, let's go back and click down on the pattern layer, and let's create a new layer, and I'm just going to call this big circle. Press OK, and then let's go to our ellipse circular tool, and we are going to make sure feathered edges is clicked. We want a fixed aspect ratio, 1:1. And we're just going to drag out a big circle, click in the middle to move it, try to set it up in the middle at least. You could just eyeball this part if you'd like, and we're going to go over here and we are going to click on a darker gray color. Let's go the 818181, press OK. And grab your bucket fill tool, of course, and make sure you're on your new layer and just fill it in. Control Shift A to deselect, and of course we are going to drop this down by a lot, about 15% is what I got mine on. And now we are going to right click on this alpha to selection, and we're going to go select to path. We're going to Control Shift A this selection. We're going to go to path, and we're going to turn that path on. So we have a marker. And here's where the little circles come in. So let's go up top to this layer, and let's see if they're going to let me do this. I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer group, and then click on add a new layer, and we'll just name this little circle. Okay, there we go. It went in. And let's go back to our ellipse tool and click on it, and let's just drag out a little circle, and let's switch our color here to white, just pressing this little switch icon here, and we could go ahead and you could grab your bucket fill tool and fill it in, or use your shortcut, which mine is Control Backspace, Control Shift A to deselect. And let's go ahead and duplicate this little circle by pressing this little icon here, or you could go Control Shift D on your keyboard. And let's go back down to this bottom one, right click alpha to selection. I guess we could have left the selection going. And let's go back up here to select, shrink, oops, Control Z, select, shrink, and we're going to shrink this by 20 pixels. And we're going to go ahead and just press delete on your keyboard, and we're going to turn the, here let's go Control Shift A first, and then we're going to turn the eye off on this bottom layer, and to where we have just that. Click on the top layer again, and let's go ahead and drag in a image. You could drag in whatever image you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and use these for now and just drag it in there. I'm going to right click, add alpha channel, right click, layer to image size, and let's make sure in this bottom one we're just using as a template, so we'll just go right click, alpha to selection on this one again, and we'll click back on to the image layer, and we'll go ahead and press delete on our, oops, Control Shift, or Control Z, I'm sorry. We're going to go edit, or select, I'm sorry, invert, and now go ahead and press delete on your keyboard. Control Shift A, and we'll just grab this little circle copy and we will move it up, and there you go. There's one more thing. We'll click back on this little circle layer, and you'll want to go up to filters, lights and shadow, and we go down to drop shadow and click on the color, and I'm going to use the color CCC. Press OK, and the blur radius I'm going to use is 16, and I'm going to drag the opacity all the way up to around 80 or 82. Allow resizing, make sure this is unchecked, and press OK. And now there you go, you have a little drop shadow on there. And we are going to just grab this whole layer group, minimize it, grab the whole layer group, press M on our keyboard, and we're going to move this into place. And the reason why I made a path out of that circle is so I could have this and we could use this as a guide. And so we'll move that to about right there, and we're going to just go ahead and duplicate this whole layer group just like that. And now the only process that we have to do, well, except for, let's go ahead and move the new one out. Let's move that to about right there. And so now all we got to do is just go over here and grab on this picture file, click on it right here, and just add your new image. I'm going to add this purple one. Right click, add alpha channel, right click, layer to image size, and we're just going to go ahead and go down to the little circle, and we're going to right click, alpha to selection, click back on the image, and we'll go ahead and Control I to invert that selection, or you could go up to select invert, and we'll just press delete on our keyboard, and that gets rid of that. Yeah, Control Shift A, that looks okay, I guess. And then go down below and just delete the other picture out of there. And let's do it again. Let's go ahead and duplicate this layer, and let's, with our move tool, grab it, and move it down to wherever you want to place it at. Open up the layer group, click on the old image, drag in, or go to File, Open as Layers. It's totally up to you. I'm just doing it this way because it's easier, and drag in a new image. Then right click, alpha to selection, right click, layer to image size, and we're going to go ahead and go down to this little circle, right click, alpha to selection. We're going to add an alpha channel on that. Layer to image size. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and Control I. And we're going to press delete on our keyboard. Control Shift A. And there you go. We're going to delete this one. And go ahead and grab that and just duplicate that again. And move the new one down. And this circle right here I made a little bit bigger, and I made the circles a little bit smaller in this one. So we're going to go ahead and click on this image and drag in a different image. Right click, add alpha channel. Right click, layer to image size. Go down to the little circle, right click, alpha to selection. Back on the picture, Control I to invert. And press delete on our keyboard. Control Shift A. Delete this one. And then duplicate it. Move it. In place to where you want. I think you guys get the drift of this, so I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and I will come back after I finish. I will be right back. Okay guys, I am back, and this is what I did. Like I said, the circles are a lot smaller, so if you're just wanting something simple, I would make the circles a whole lot bigger, like I did right here. But here I made the circles smaller because I wanted to change it up a little bit. Go ahead and close all these real quick. Okay, and so I just went around in a circle, went around here, and put one right in the middle. And the reason why we did it this way is, for one, it's easier, and every layer has a little drop shadow on it and stuff. Alright, let's go all the way down to the bottom below the first layer group, and let's go ahead and add a new layer, and we'll just name this square. And we're going to go to our rectangular select tool, and we are just going to make out a square however big you want, and we're going to make it white. So grab your bucket fill tool, fill it in with white, Control Shift A, and we're going to zoom in here just a little bit so you can see that. And we're going to go ahead and grab our rotate tool, and we're going to just go ahead and rotate that around, I don't know, to about right there. M on our keyboard for our move tool. Let's move that into place there. And let's go ahead and just duplicate that, and let's grab the duplicate and let's move it over. Let's press Shift R for rotate on your keyboard, and let's rotate that around to about right there. M on your keyboard for the move tool, and that looks good to me. Let's just duplicate another one. Let's move that over here, and let's Shift R on our keyboard again. Rotate that around to about right there. Press rotate. Press M on our keyboard for the move tool. Let's move that out. And so that's what we're going to do, and we're just putting the corners out right there. So I'm going to go ahead and pause again, and I will come back after I went all the way around and put one in each space right here. I will be right back. Okay everybody, I am back. One thing that I should have done before we went back was I should have made another layer group for that first square that we made, just with that and a drop shadow. But you could go ahead and do that if you want to. It's pretty much the same process as how we made the circles. It would make things a whole lot easier. But for now, I'm going to just go ahead and filter, and we could just go light and shadow and then drop shadow. And I'm going to make this a darker, let's cancel that, and make it a darker gray. We'll go with this color, 727272. I'm just going to copy this, and then filters, reshow, drop shadow, go to the color over here, and then just paste that in there, press enter, it's okay. And I'm going to go ahead and keep this at the same settings as from before. I'm just going to press OK. And then go down to the next one, filters, and then I'm going to just click right here, repeat drop shadow. Go to the next one, filters, repeat drop shadow. Go to the next one, filters, repeat drop shadow. That's why I was saying it would have been better to make this into a layer group, but that's okay. Filters, repeat drop shadow. Okay, I'm going to go to this drop shadow right here, grab rectangle select tool, select around right here, and I'm going to press delete, Control Shift A, there we go. And so now it's got a shadow, a drop shadow under them. Just go through here and lower the opacity on some of these. Alrighty, so we got that. There's one more thing that I forgot to do when we first started, was we're going to go ahead and put a settle pattern on there. So let's just go back to the settle pattern and let's find something that we like. I'm going to go ahead and download this one, and it comes in a zip file, and I'm just going to open it. If you're on a Mac, it has it for a Mac, and then for Windows, I'm going to just click on the Windows one because that's all I need, and I'm going to go find my folder, press OK, and then go ahead and close this and go back to Gimp, and there it is. So let's go ahead and right click, and we're going to go ahead and alpha to selection that. We're going to go down and click on a new layer and name this top pattern. Oops. And go in here and let's see, do we want the big one or do we want the small one? Let's go ahead, I'm going to go with the big one for now. We're going to right click on it, alpha to selection. You go up to edit and then hit copy, or you could Control C if you want, Control Shift A. Go ahead and go back down here, add that selection again, and then we'll just go to our paint bucket tool, click on pattern fill, and on our new layer just go ahead and fill the pattern in. Control Shift A to deselect, And let's zoom in here on this pattern a little bit, and let's go ahead and go to screen, and let's drop the opacity down on this quite a bit to about 40%. Let's go ahead and delete this. And there you go. That's pretty much how you go ahead and do all this. And like I said, I just wanted to demonstrate a little bit on how to use the ellipse select tool and the rectangle tool. I know it wasn't too much into it, I mean, because there's not really too much to these, really, except for, you know, you could change it to a fixed aspect ratio. You could do just the width, height, or the size. It's up to you. You could when you click on feather edges, this is where you change the radius on how big of a feather. On these, I just had a feather of 1 on here. I had the fixed aspect ratio clicked to a 1:1 aspect ratio. You could change your position and stuff of your circles right here, and you could go no guides, center lines, rule of thirds, rule of fifths, golden sections, diagonal lines. That is totally up to you. And it's the same thing with the rectangular select. Right here, you click with feathered edges and just go down to 1. And you could this is where you get your rounded corners too. You just click right here, rounded corners, and you can make your corners rounded to whatever size you would like. Same thing, aspect ratio, keep current, no guides. You could click expand from center, and that's pretty much basically it. This right here, if you just hold, you know, if you had one selection and you wanted to add another one, you click right there and that will add another selection into that. This one is subtract from a selection, so right here, if you want to get rid of that. And this one is to intersect with it. So you have a new selection and then the selection inside of it. So that's basically pretty much, and it's the same for the ellipse circle tool. That's pretty much all it is. You can make various sizes and shapes with that. Like I said, I just wanted to show you how to make something cool like this, and how to use those two tools, and a couple good resources for Gimp also. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. You'd take, if you wanted to put this, you'd take your crop tool, and you'd want to crop this out, press enter, and you want to go up here and you'd want to file, save as, then you'd save it as PNG, whatever, and put it where you want. And then after you saved it, you'd control Z that, and it'll bring that back. And then you, if you had more parts or whatever, but these circles are on their own layer already, so you just have to go ahead and close all these. Anyways, you just want to go to one of them and hold down shift, turn the eye off, and then, like I said, grab this, your crop tool, and get as close as you can to the circle. And remember, you have a drop shadow down here, so you want to make sure that you include the drop shadow. And just hit enter, and it'll bring it down to that size, and you'll want to file, save as, and then your PNG or whatever, and put it in your folder. And then that way you have these on separate files to include into your website. And that's pretty much it. So that would be how you extract all these, and like I said, line them up on your website. You'd want to include your squares or whatever with your background, your square and the big circle with your background, and then you'd use CSS to line up the circles and HTML5 to do some cool stuff. You'd use JavaScript, but that is on a different subject. That's not on design. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please like, subscribe. There will be tons more to come. Thank you and have a great day.